The value of the Safaliba language is to let the Safaliba people know who they are, to maintain their culture, and also to sustain it for eternity. The continuation can only be assured if the people get proud of their language and we have people to teach it and let them enjoy it, then it can be maintained. The Safaliba is fast losing its identity because we are a very few people and we have people infiltrating into our territory. Their languages are similar to the Safaliba, and so if we don't fight, ours will get extinct because we are fewer than most of them.
There was a well-known British anthropologist, I guess she's actually originally American, but she married a British, called Dr. Esther Goody, who she did straightforward anthropology in earlier years, but in her later years, I think the last 15 years that she was actively researching, she was living here in Boli and doing research into education, basically using local languages, the sort of thing that we're trying to do now. And she actually started that before the government made their recent big push to actually get materials into the languages that they even claimed to sponsor. So this lady, Esther Goody, was involved in that before that even became an official thing to do. She said, well, you know, you're doing adult education, but if you would focus on also getting the children educated, eventually there wouldn't be a need for adult education. Just anecdotally, the people said that the children who had been in the night classes were doing better in school. Basically, they were able to learn to read. Once we went to the school and we were actually involved in teaching and observing in some of the classes, we realized that typically, even at 6th grade, the vast majority were not able to read. But in the 3rd grade that we spent the most time in, we did some testing just with their alphabet awareness and so forth. And basically all of them were at, as best we can tell, kind of a kindergarten level. Many of them did not know their letters. They didn't know the sounds that went with the letters, and that's not surprising because, I mean, the English alphabet is just extremely haphazard, even if you know the language. We spent a few days teaching a few alphabet letters and linking them to keywords in their local language that, that either began with a letter or had that sound in it. And, just within a class period, you could see kids were grasping the whole point of an alphabet that hadn't ever before. And so, you could see what could be done with it if it was done all the time. And there's a sense in which you don't want to claim too much, but there's another sense in which, language is very powerful, and the language that you know is something that you can really build on. The most astounding thing was, the school that we're working in has only got 3 classrooms at that point they had 4 grades. This year they've got 5 because it's a new school, but the government only opened 3 classrooms. And so the 4th grade classroom back in June when he was here was out under a tree because they didn't have a classroom. And so, yeah. And so, well, things are going on and the teacher's trying to do what she can and, the kids are just entertaining themselves. We noticed there was a couple of groups in this 4th grade, which we never worked with. There's a couple of groups of kids. And so they were reading one of the more advanced primer booklets, and they had a copy of one of the scripture books that we had published, which is Galatians, which is not, normally most people's idea of something fun to read, especially kids, but they were sitting there reading it, and I don't know how much they were reading it, but they were reading something or they wouldn't have been so, occupied. And it's just, that was before we'd actually done anything. Again, these were kids, they said, that had been in the night classes. It's just amazing that But there's this huge language barrier that when it's pushed away, kids are curious, kids are interested. They will naturally read all kinds of things.